Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. Welcome once again to this session, and in this session we are going to learn about files in Python. In our past session, you may have seen most of the times whenever we were collecting maybe some information from the users, this information as soon as the program ends or when we end executing that program, then that information was lost or we were not able to keep or to know those the values that we had, maybe the names of people, maybe the city where they come from, even the variables and all that. So as when the program stops running, when we run the program again, we need to start again writing the names. And even after writing those names, we are not able to trace the names. And but in ideally in a real life situation, if you're building a system, then when you register someone, you need to be keeping this information somewhere in the maybe database or somewhere even in your computer. When you're collecting this information from users, you need to be storing them somewhere. So that is where files come in. We are going to be learning this. This is just the introduction part, and just to understand what files are, and just think of it as you are saying here, it's like a notebook. Like if you can remember your notebook, you keep some of the information. So like the information that we've been having, using the same example that you've just said, that you are recording new users. So you are recording new users. If you can go back to the dictionaries example, we are talking about persons. So we have the information maybe for person one, you have it somewhere in your notebook, person two in your notebook also, and so forth and so forth. So once we learn how to use files, we can keep this information in the files as we are collecting from the users. We can be keeping somewhere so that even after after running our programs, if we stop running our program, we'll have these names that the users gave us. When we advance maybe to develop a system, we'll see how we can write these files or keep this information in a database. But ideally, we are creating some tables. We are writing some files. So this is very important. This is very important. So they help us to store some information, just as we just said here. So they help us to store information so that we can keep track of this information after the program stop running. So the need for these files, just imagine that this is just a scenario that you are running a shop. So and you need to keep track of your sales. So as you are making sales, if you come to supermarkets, they have some systems. So as you are making some sales, you need to keep track of these sales that you are making. So if you don't write this down as the event occurs, then it will be difficult for you to remember maybe at the end of the day whatever you sold, and it will be difficult for you to know that whether you're making the profit or loss. So for you to be able to trace that and to keep that information, you need to store some data. You need to store some data, and we've said here that files help us to store some information. So we may think of it now in the programming way. In the manual way, you maybe write this information in some books, maybe books of records, the sales that you made, the profit and loss. But we want to automate this. That is why we said program will help us to automate some stuff instead of doing the manual. So what you do, you will keep this one in files. You'll have some files, just as you'll have some places maybe in your books where you are writing these ones. You can also have the files, maybe where you are writing the sales that you made, maybe where you are writing the goods that you receive, uh, maybe the new stock. Whenever the stock come, you have somewhere to record those stocks that have come on a daily basis, what you sold, and maybe calculate some profit based on that. So we need to come up with files. And also this other one that we are talking about. If you are registering students, then you need to have a register somewhere that or a book that you keep, so that you know if you have an institution, you know these are the students that I have. They range from this age to this age. They are in this class, so it will help you to keep track of the students, the learners that you have. Maybe the fee that they pay based on the class, based on the services. Maybe some are using the fund if you have the school fund, and maybe some are boarding and others are just a day schooling. So you need to keep this track, you need this record somewhere, so that it will help you to know the amount of fee that these students should pay. And once you have like this, once you have some files somewhere, you can keep this information. But in programming, we use the files. We use the files. So how do you work with files? We usually have like three to four commands that are common when working with files. You need to open a file. Obviously, we talk about the manual system, whereby you have some books, you have some files, real files. So the way you'll open a book, maybe for keeping a keeping record, you open. So we use the open function. These functions comes inbuilt, just like we're using the dot format from strings, we're using dot pop to the and all that. This is part of the function, inbuilt function. Remember, we say we have the inbuilt functions and we have the functions that are user defined. So this comes with Python. So you use the open to open a file, and once you open that file, you may want just to access the information, the past information that you had kept. And for you to do that, we are using the read. But we need to write something inside. We need to write something. So we use the write. So we use the write to write something. We use the read to maybe to just access. You want to know what you've stored in the files. Uh, Based on this scenario, we're talking about the shop. You may need to know what you've sold maybe for the last 2 months. So you open that file just to read that information. But if you are starting up, maybe you've sold something, at the end of the day, you need to write something. So you will still open that file and write something. Someone else will open, maybe the management will open and read to know what they have been able to make at the end of that given period. And you may need also to add, but to add more. So there's a difference here between writing and adding. So writing, like ideally, this file is blank, it's empty, or if it exists, everything will be written. So, but adding, we are just appending. Maybe you had some records for the last 3 days, and for the fourth day of the week, you are adding the information or the things that you sold that day. So that will use the add to do that. So this is how to open a file. This is how to open a file. So these are variables that will represent that file. It can be anything. It can be sales file, it can be anything. These are variable. So still use the rules for naming variables. And we are opening a new file. This is the name of the file that we are opening. And this is the mode. So what mode means, like in the mode, you are telling us what you want to do with that file. Remember we said we can add, we can write, we can read. So if you want to add, if you want to read, if you want to write, you define the mode. So this is the name of the file that you are opening. Remember we said someone can open the file to just access information. So they will, in the mode, they will indicate that they just want to read that file. What about if you want to write some information? You indicate that you are opening to write some information, and adding the same way. You are opening this file to add more data to the existing data. So so here we are opening this file, and the name of the file is myfile.txt. So this is the name of the file. You can see the name of the file is sales.txt, sales.txt, or maybe the new stock.txt, uh, or yeah. and mode, you indicate the mode that you are writing that file. So these are the modes. So remember we said first we can write, and for write we just use W. So you just indicate inside quotes W. So Python will know that now you write want to write something into that file. What about read? To indicate that you just reading the file. What about A? This one is adding values or appending so to the existing ones. So you can open in these modes. As we advance, you will see some instances we may need to put read and write. So sometimes we open like that, but you will see that as we advance, we will see that as we advance. It's just to introduce us to these files. So this is an example, and I want us to try this example so that we see what we get. So I'm going to minimize this here so that we can write something. These are the terminal. Sorry for that. So okay. So this is the terminal, and this is the whatever the guide we've been using. So I have a file. I have a Python file called files.py. So we are we are we are writing some names. We are writing some names. So let's say so the first file. So the we let's say that we are opening something called sales. So we are opening something called sales. So we use the open function, like we've said here. We've said where is it? We've said yeah that we use the open function. And now we indicate the name of the file inside here. So we are opening what we call sales uh, .txt. And what do we want to do? Want to write something. Want to write something. That's what we said here. Want to write something that sales. So we are writing something. So we indicate inside the quotes, inside the double quotes. I want you to be able to see it entirely. So we have now opened the file. This is just for opening the file. So after opening this file and want to read, then we want to write something. Then we now indicate the data that we want to add. So maybe sales. So we are adding something to this file. So we'll say so this file which is sales dot and then now we are writing to this file. So if we say write, then we can indicate whatever we want to write. Maybe it is the products. Maybe the products for that we sold. Maybe rice. Maybe you sold rice. Uh, let's say cheese or rice. Uh, then you also uh, okay. Let me copy that. Let's say for cheese or sugar. Let's say also you sold flour. And finally, let's say that you sold some. Maybe you sold what else? Maybe you sold some. Maybe you sold sweets. So we are writing this information to this file. We are writing this information. We will see how to do when we are collecting information from users. And after you've opened the file, you are supposed to close that file. So it will usually work without you closing the file, but it is very important. Remember, are concerned about the memory usage. If you open file and you didn't close that file, maybe you open many files, then you are the memory uses. Remember, this file is using memory, so it's still open. It will work, but the more you open many files, you'll find that at some point your resources will be exhausted. Maybe if you are working with cloud, you are given some limited resources. Ideally, maybe in your local environment, depending with the size of the storage and the processing power of your machine, it may not result in any error. But when you move to cloud, whereby you are subscribing for some for a given space and the processing power of the machine that you buy or that environment, then you'll realize that these limitations will come. So always note whenever you open the file, either if you are reading, writing, or appending or adding new data, you're supposed to close that file. You're supposed to close that file. So we say sales dot close, sales dot close. So that will close the file. That will close the file. So if we run this program, a new file should be a new file should be a new file should be written, and this a new file should be created in a write mode, and this information should be added. So title, the name of the file, this files.py. If I run that program, it has run. Want to let's see whether we've got the results. Okay. So as you can see, this is the folder that I've been working with. And if you see here, we have the sales. So a new file has been created. That's just been created. And let's see the data inside. You can see 2 kilograms of rice, 4 kilograms of sugar, 2 kilograms of flour, and sweets. But you'll notice that there's something. If we come back here, I wrote this in new lines. Like I have sugar, and as you can see, this is not that readable, but this has to be like this was readable. So what happens every time we are writing the files, we are supposed to indicate at the end of this file. If you want to go to the next line, then we use the next line character. So we'll use this one at the end. At the end of this string, we'll say this one. So this is the escape or the new line. Whenever you use the back slash and n, it will tell that you are shifting. After writing whatever you've written here, then go to the new line. Start whatever you are writing next in the new line. Sometimes it can be like that. Tab. So this will mean you start in a new tab. So if I've written sweet here, then I go to a new tab like that. I write another one there. So always note you have to indicate like the next line. I want to do with these two so that we see the rest of these like sweets here because I've not indicated after the flour that the next line should start in a new line. So if I run this file, remember we are using the write mode, and what we said in the write mode, it will put new data to that file, and if some data exists, it will delete that data and start everything afresh. So because we had this data here, once we run this program, it will assume it will delete everything here and start afresh. So let's see. So it has run. Should I refresh? Let me just reopen the file. I'm reopening the files. As you can see, 2 kgs of rice, 4 kgs of sugar, 2 kgs of flour, and seeds have been. They are on the same line because we didn't indicate here that we are supposed to start the new. We are supposed to start whatever is coming in the new line like that. The new line like that. So everything here will work. Let me run once again. Let me reopen the file. and it works. And it works. So one thing to note here before we continue is that the name, we can indicate the location where you want to save this file. You can write here the path where you want to indicate. So if you fail to do that, inside the folder or whatever this files.py is, it will it will create that one. It will assume that you are working in the current working directory. So the current working directory here, as you can see, the files here is in a folder in desktop called software dev. This is the folder that we've been using for all our classes. As you can see, some of these are our past classes. So it will save here, but you can indicate where you want this file to be saved. You can indicate. So I want us to try collect some information from the. I want us to try and collect some information from the user, like we've been doing before. So I want us to try collect some information. The rest we will work around the rest in the next session. We'll work around the rest, reading the files and appending. I just wanted this to be small, to be short. Sorry. So if we were talking about students, remember we were collecting at some point. We were collecting the information about students, and while we were collecting information about students, we were keeping we're using the input function because we are collecting information from user. What is your name? What is your name? And what is your age? Where do you come from? Where do you come from? Etc. Like that. Let's assume that we have three. And let's assume that we have three. And I want now to write this information. I want to write this information. Remember, we are collecting this. Let me have them here. Then we are opening a file to keep this information, that we are collecting from users, so that once our programs end, we retain this information. So we are supposed to do what? Cells dot write. And what are we writing? We are writing the name. So we are writing the name. And for us to start with a new line, we will just indicate it here. That after this you include a new line. So write the name, then a new line. There's another way of doing that. Uh, but let's try that one and see. So the name, the age, and the name, the age, and the location. We've not renamed the variable, so this should be the age, and this should be location, like that. Oh, I'm renaming something different. Remember this is the name, age, and location. In VS Code, you can control D, select one and control D to change all. So maybe I'm renaming this to be students file, student registration file, like that. So you just click on one thing, then the first appearance of whatever you want to change, it appears many times, and then Control D to highlight all of them. Then from that you can change like that. If I want to change this file, so that's maybe registration file, so I change all of them at the same time. So that is one of the good things that VS Code comes with. So I want us to run this program and see something, whether we are going to achieve whatever we wanted to do, whether we achieve whatever we wanted to do. Let me increase this. Let me just maximize this for now. Okay, so let's rerun And we'll ask you what's your name, Noel, what's your age, 9, where do you come from, Europe. Oh, there's an issue. It's an issue. So it tells us that this right expects one argument. So it doesn't accept two arguments. It doesn't accept two arguments. So let's try this. Let's try this. Uh, for let's use the formatted string. Did you remember us using the formatted strings? There is many ways, but for the sake of time, let me just use the formatted strings that we discussed. So it will be the name and in a new line like that. And same goes to the rest of this. The rest of this. And this should be the edge. And this should be the location. Okay, so let's run the program. Your name, Doyle, I was 29, I was from Nairobi. Oh, so information. Let's just find out if it's true. Let me refresh this. Do you have new students? Yes, we have students here. And Noel 29 from Nairobi. Noel 29 from Nairobi. Noel 29 from Nairobi. Let's run the program once again. Someone else is Mercy, maybe 35, 37, and from maybe Mombasa. I didn't write Mombasa well, don't worry. Let's see what we get. So I want to reopen the file, and you see Mercy 37 Mombasa. So what is it that's happening here? Remember we say right will delete whatever we had first before it adds new information. So if we want to be adding to append this information, remember we say we can append, we can add to existing. So what we do instead of using right, instead of using this mode here, right, we can just use append. This will append the new information. So now we are running this one, it will append the new information to the file that we add. The file that we add. Okay. Sorry for that. So let's run and see. Once again, mile 20 plus 29 from Nairobi. Let's try. Let's see what we get. I'm reopening the file. My students is here, and as you can see now, we have both information for Mercy and Noel because we've opened in a append mode. So if you want to keep some information, the existing one, you'll use append. And it's mostly advisable for you to use append because it will not delete whatever you had in that file. So it will just add the information to that file. So you will not lose any information in your file. So every time you are opening the file, just note that if you are using the right, then you are doing what? If you are using the right, then you just writing everything afresh. So if that file adds something, everything will be cleared, and the new information that you added will be added to that file. So just note that. Finally, let me run once again. Saying someone called Sam is from Kericho. Oops. Oops. And oh, I'm writing something. Let me end that one. Let me write it once again. The name is Sam from Kericho. Oh, sorry, this is the H. Maybe Steve from Kericho. And let's open the file. So that we see what we get. And you see, we have We have Mercy, we have Noel, we have Sam. So you may be asking yourself sometimes whenever we are working with the real data, you'll find that the information for maybe masses should be somewhere here, so that I can just have like a table like this, and the first row here will be having maybe the name is Mercy and all the information for Mercy. The other one is Noel and all the information for Noel. The other one is Sam and all the information for Sam. So that is where we we have two kinds of files. Of course, we have others. We can open the file in, this is a txt mode, but also we can open the file in CSV. So CSV is the one that will give us the table. So CSV is the one that will give us the table, these comma separated files. So that is what we'll be learning in the next session. The next session we'll see how to now open the files in a read mode. We'll see how to open the files in a read mode. Then we'll see how to work with CSV. And just to, if you can remember, there's this program that we wrote in one of the classes, whereby we're calculating the basic or the net salary for someone. So I want us will be doing that. We'll be doing that in the next class if time will be enough, so that we see where how this information that we'll be learning can be put together to come up with a system. So up to 10, I wish you the best. Hope you've understood something working with files. Try to do something at your own, because whenever you work with this, you are able to to learn a lot than just following. So try to run these codes, try to run these codes. If you are working with the Google Colab, whenever you save the file, it will go to that place where if you are working in a folder, or you just open a new notebook, it will go to the parent folder. So check the folders to make sure that this file that was written is usually there or not. Maybe I'll try in the next one to work with Google Colab, so that we see the difference for the sake of those who are using their mobile phones to program this. Otherwise, I wish you a nice time. Let's meet in the next one. Bye bye.